Welcome to The Beautiful Bag. This is your host, LeeAnne Hayden, cancer survivor, and more importantly, ostomy lifer. Each and every week, I'm going to be bringing a special guest or some inspiration for you and a few little stories along the way so that you can learn what life is like for us to be living in an ostomy and why we all think it's a beautiful bag. So listen in and let's get started. These testimonials are representative of my or our experiences, but the exact results and experience will be unique and individual to each person. The information provided herein is not medical advice and is not intended to substitute for the advice of your personal physician or other healthcare providers. Good morning, my loves. How are you? And welcome to this week's episode of the Beautiful Bag podcast. I'm your host, LeeAnne Hayden. I am in the midst of my long Sunday morning walk in nature, something that I started to do the beginning of this summer. As you guys know, I talk about it a lot. I walk every day, right? So I walk about 45 to 60 minutes every single day, and I walk along the water. You know, when I was in New York City, I'd walk along the water in New York City, and we moved back to New Hampshire, and everything's New Hampshire, trees and grass and whatever. And that's great because we have plenty of it. However, we moved back to Manchester, which is a big city in New Hampshire, and we moved into these beautiful old mill buildings, and everything is downtown. So we have a river that runs through, but it's not the same. It's not the nature. It's not those nature walks. So for me to go on a nature walk, I either have to get in a car and drive there, or I've got to walk my 45 minutes to get there to enjoy a little bit of nature, which is something that I've started to do on Sundays. And we know that, you know, I have this podcast for all of us in ostomies. And you also know that, you know, on my walks, I listen to podcasts all the time, from business development to self-development to nutrition to everything. I try and take some things that I learned from those podcasts and bring it here to us, because we all have to deal with certain things, right? So, today I wanted to just chat with you guys a little bit about the self-love that goes along with, our mindsets and where we are and what we deserve. We've all been through trauma, each and every one of us in our own ways, whether it was dealing with, having Crohn's or, colitis or cancer, or being in an accident, or, all those things that have led us into having our ostomies. And we have to deal with a lot of trauma. I mean, that's trauma. It's trauma to our bodies. It's trauma to our minds. And how do we get through that? How do we deal with that? How do we deal with the emotions of, I'm feeling good, I'm feeling bad, or I want my old body back, or, I have to deal with this new body that I have, or, I was in pain for so long and now I don't feel pain anymore. And we all know that our ostomies have given us that second chance in life. And a lot at the end of the day, we owe our lives to our ostomies and our doctors and what they're trying to do to help us get through that. But how do we deal with that trauma? How do we get through to the other side? And, or how do we deal with it? Because it is an emotional roller coaster. We do have our ups and our downs. We have our great days and our bad days. And lately, and I love being transparent with all of you because I think it helps. Lately, I've been just feeling really sad. It's been actually on and off for about a year and a half now. And sad to the point where I can sit here and cry for no reason. And at first I thought, it was my hormones were unbalanced, which they were. And I'm trying to get those back in balance. Women, you know this story, right? I mean, full hysterectomy at 45, forced menopause. So my body didn't get to adjust naturally like normal people, like normally does. It was forced. And then I was on a low dose estradiol, and Then I'm like, oh, I'm 51, menopause should be over. So I start to wean myself off the estradiol, and man, that was a ride in itself. Hot flashes, night sweats, crying, depressed, like feeling depressed, feeling sad. And I know I put a great front on in front of people, that everything is always okay. And it's not. It's not always okay. I'm human. I have those feelings too. So, I was going through that. So now we're balancing my hormones. So I'm feeling better, but I'm still feeling sad a little bit, right? So things are hitting me a little differently than they used to. I used to be able to just kind of blow something off and it's not a big deal, because most times it's not. But what I've been figuring out, I'm walking by some people and they all have their dogs and stuff. It's really sweet, as you guys can hear. But what I'm feeling like now is I used to meditate. I used to meditate for 20 minutes every single day. There was never an option of me not. And I meditated prior to, for years prior to my cancer. I'm talking like 5 or 6 years prior to even being diagnosed with cancer. And then, through my cancer, through having cancer, through my surgeries, on the other side, I meditated, and it would bring up a lot of things. And sometimes I'd wake up and I'd be crying. Right? It's okay to cry. It really is. Our bodies are healing in a way. And one of the things that I've noticed is I'm not as consistent with myself anymore. Yes, I've gotten consistent with daily walks and 10 to 15,000 steps or more a day, and going to the gym and lifting and trying to eat as healthfully as I possibly can, right? As healthy as I can. And, just being good to my body. So I started to incorporate meditation back into my daily life. And I'm starting with 10 minutes. Even though I used to do it for 20 to 30 minutes, once to twice a day, I'm back at it. So I'm like, okay, let me just give myself 10 minutes a day just to calm my mind, just to let my emotions kind of come out. And I know a lot of people think meditation, like, can't meditate. I got monkey mind, right? I got monkey brain. I'm always thinking about everything else that's going on around me and what I need to do and how do I meditate? I can't sit there quietly. Well, guys, guess what? That's the secret to meditation. It's acknowledging that that's how your brain is. And it's like, you can sit there quietly. You can have music. There's guided meditations. There's all of those things. You could sit there quietly and a thought comes through your head, and now all of a sudden you're thinking, I've got dishes to do, or this I want to get done for work or whatever. And then you realize, like, oh, I'm thinking. And you letting it go away. Like, you let it go, like, oh, I'm thinking. Go back to my breath. And you do that over and over and over and over again for those 10 minutes. And sometimes I come up out of meditation, I'm like, my subconscious mind just answered all my questions for me that I was thinking about before I even thought, while I was trying to work through it. So I'm starting to incorporate meditation back in to my daily life. And I'm having feelings of feeling sad. And I like to be happy all the time, right? I mean, who doesn't? And so it's really making me think my body is healing from something, right? My body is trying to release some trauma. My body's trying to feel better. So I'm going to have to sit with this, that meditate, come out, and if there's tears, that's good. It's my body healing itself. It's okay to feel sad. It's okay to let it go, It's okay to acknowledge that I feel sad. And it's okay to let it go, as long as it doesn't come into depression. And there's key differences between feeling sad, right? When you feel sad, you have emotions attached to that, right? Like, someone hurt you, or you were hurt by something that they did. Well, you love that person. You don't want to be hurt by them, right? Or, I'm crying and I'm feeling sad, but it's, I'm dealing with the fact that my body's different and it's not the same as it was prior to. Depression is when you don't have a feeling attached to it. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's no emotion. There's just emptiness. And when you feel that, if you feel that way, guys, call your doctor. Call your doctor right away. and get an appointment scheduled with a therapist or have a conversation with a professional on how you're feeling. If you have that, like you're in bed and you're not getting out of bed, but you have no feel, there's no emotions going along with you. That's serious stuff. And that you need to get professional help with right away. And don't take it lightly, okay? Because again, all of us have been through trauma within what has happened to us, whether it was instantaneously or it was something that we've had to deal with for years. And it can be serious stuff. But if you're feeling sad or you're having that emotional roller coaster and you're feeling sad, guys, sit with that. Sit with that. Be quiet with that. Cry with that. I'm starting to study or listen more about somatic movement, right? So it's a therapy where you move your body. And I'm listening to this woman who teaches it, and she does events with it and classes and courses, and I might just go take it just to really experience what it is. But it's where your body knows how to move, and this is why I walk every day, right? Because movement is medicine. On top of healing yourself, it's movement's medicine. And but in the somatic, you're moving, you're dancing, your body's doing these things that, sometimes you're like, oh, I didn't know my body could even move like that. But it's releasing things. It's healing itself. So I've been studying that. So when I do study more of it, I will bring that back to you guys. And maybe I will bring the person that I'm thinking of, taking a couple of classes with. Maybe I'll bring her here on the podcast. So she could share she could share with you as well. But my point is, guys, feelings are good. Emotions are going to come up and down. How we deal with them to get through to the other side is important. And we all have our different ways of doing it, right? Maybe it's meditation. Maybe it's yoga. Maybe it's just a beautiful walk every single day to move your body. Maybe it is talking to a professional, even if you're feeling sad. Like, I need to get through on the other side of this. Talking to a professional. Eating healthy will help you, right? But feeling the emotions, journaling, guys, getting it out on paper is huge. I have this practice that I do every once in a while where if I'm feeling something, I have to get it out. Because if you leave it in your head and you think about it over and over and over again, it can drive you crazy, right? So writing it down on a piece of paper or in a journal. And if you're worrying about somebody reading a journal, write it, get it out, and burn the piece of paper, right? That's a healing in itself, right? Like you're releasing the emotions, you're getting them out of your body. There's a book called The Emotional Code, and this is, sometimes I'm like, it's a little woo-woo-y, but hey, I'll try anything once. See how I feel after the fact. And the Emotional Code talks about how we're all in a magnetic field, right? We're all energy, and you can literally use a magnet, even a fridge magnet, and they teach you these little techniques of how to release some things from your subconscious that you don't even know are affecting you. So again, the book is called The Emotional Code. And I've done a couple of things like that. I'm like, is this real? Like, I feel better. Okay, so I'm feeling better. So maybe there is something to it. But again, guys, emotions are real. Where we can and should feel them and release them. We don't need to be these big, strong, tough, happy people all the time. You can feel weak, vulnerable. Vulnerability is beautiful. And, share with each other. Share with me. Let's talk this out. Because, like I said, I have those feelings myself. Like I said, I'm feeling a little sad. I know there's something going on inside that makes me feel this way. I'm going to feel it. I'm going to write it out. I'm going to meditate, not on it, but I'm going to meditate, see what comes up. I'm going to go on my walks, do more yoga. Maybe I'll do like 2 yoga sessions a week, maybe even 3, compared to 5 lifting sessions, right? A little aggression, calm myself down so that my body can heal from whatever it's feeling right now that I need to go through. And the same goes for you guys. And, that's all I wanted to chat about, just a little Sunday morning walk with LeeAnne. I hope you found some of this helpful. And yeah, we'll catch you next week. And as always, I love you. I adore you. You're loved. You're special. You're important. You can find me if you want to reach out on Instagram, LeeAnne Hayden. Same with my website. It's leeannehayden.com. And give me a little message and let me know how you're doing. I hope you have a beautiful day. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for joining us this week. If you enjoyed this podcast, get the behind the scenes at leeannehayden.com/ostomy updates. And also, if you found this episode encouraging, please screenshot it and share it on Instagram. And don't forget to tag me and also the person who was on the episode with me. I occasionally will do special gifts for anyone who does do a screenshot and share it on Instagram or in your stories. Also, lastly, please go to Apple or Google, rate, review, and subscribe to this podcast to keep up with them every single week. I enjoy you guys. Thank you so much for being here.